Welcome back to Weekend Walkabout in our gardens and years virtually. For our last part of New Zealand's South Island, Alps and Shores, this is part 6, birds plus your questions, our answers. This is coming to you from gardenataz.org. I'm Janet Makanovich. Stephen Nicolette is here with me today too. Now we have to have a send-off with birds because we like them so much. I finally got to see pukikos, one of Sonia's favorites. She collects them. I think she saw over 100 this week, and I'm not as quick in the car as seeing them as they go by. They're like a chicken. Are they flightless? Yes, I think.
No, they fly a little bit. One of them flew over that fence.
That's right. So. These can fly. I was, however, the only one to see a takahe. This might look the same, but it's not the same, and it's the best picture I could get while I fumbled and dropped everything I did try to get to a camera. It had tags on both legs, and this is one of the rarest birds in the world. It walks like a dinosaur.
It does.
And does not fly at all, and was down to, I think I read 50 birds was all that was left in the world when they cleared the island that we went to visit. So I saw a takahe. This is the, was this the, did we decide this was the gray duck or a hybrid between the gray duck and the mallard?
This was the scout.
The scout. Gray scout.
Yes.
Yeah. There are mallards there, and there are hybrids between mallards and the other ducks.
In the gray duck.
Yeah. A lot of different kinds of seagulls. This is the black-billed seagull. There's also a red-billed seagull. There's this, what was the one with
the
mollymawks. Mollymawks. And introduced versions. This is the European chaffinch. Very nice singer.
Yeah.
Enjoyed listening to it. Okay, it's a mallard, but our mallards don't usually choose to land in trees. Our wood ducks do, but not our mallards do. This is that paradise duck, female on the top,
and male
on the bottom. And I now have great respect for the male. Say, if you can chase away a Canada goose, because they're not as big as a goose, they're bigger than a mallard, but not as big as a goose. Back to the chaffinch.
English
and still haven't figured out for sure who this guy is.
Yeah.
And I want to send you off with a note, Steve, of how much I appreciate what you do, because these birds look like that to me, and even to Steve. Can you see that there's a bird in there? We've identified some of the birds that we listen to and watch flying around by Steve's pictures, being able to pull them out and seeing that, oh, I see this is a yellowhead.
Yep.
And it was a beautiful singer. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful, and actually quite unusual to find them as high up as they were in the mountains. So even with the common birds, it's not easy to get a picture that includes the eye and life in a bird. But that's it. If there's any questions anybody's got.
Yeah, we do.
You got 10 minutes.
Good.
We do have a couple of questions. Stacy has one of the same questions that I have about the purpose to the hedges. Are they for windbreaks? Are they holding ground to prevent erosion? Is it just because they like them? And that it strikes me, especially the hedges around Christchurch are so big and so tall. Can you talk a little bit about what the purposes of the hedges might be?
I thought the purposes was to define areas, plus providing some protection in storms for the animals, the evergreens, the taller ones, changes the way the wind comes across and allows the animals to get close to shelter. But there was no proof of that.
The original English hedgerow was in part for wind protection, but in part for containment. If you planted enough brambly things together, you didn't have your cows and sheep and other livestock getting out so much. But especially as you get toward the North Sea in England and the wind coming through, then the hedges are taller because they are good windbreaks. The same thing in the Netherlands, they're windbreaks, but they try to keep them narrow because they don't want to be losing field space to them. So yeah, for the most part, those big tall trees, because there's fences now, are not for containment, they're for windbreaks. They may to a certain extent be for tradition too, that it's just how we do delineate things. There are a lot of studies that indicate too that they provide shelter for birds, and birds eat insects. So if you're growing something that has insect problems, you want to attract the birds and the animals that could live in the hedgerows.
I see Karen asked a question about the lens. I had one lens, 18 to 300 zoom.
Yeah, so you kept just one lens the whole time and dropped it at least once hard. And we're gonna have to get it worked out.
It still works, but
Yeah.
broke the. And never mind. You don't need to.
And as I explained in the chat, a lot of the pictures that you're seeing actually were Steve shooting out the window at 100 kilometers an hour in the car, and the fact that he was able to hold on to a large camera and a large lens out the window is not to be discounted.
Better than my driving.
We have a question from Denise about clover. She asked if they have clover. I said, yeah, the pastures had clover. Is there a native clover, Janet, that you discovered?
I didn't look up whether clover is native. I'm concentrating on the trees and working my way down. I
saw lots of clover.
I bet it's introduced if it's here, because that's a Eurasian plant, but it might have been here or something like it here. There's a lot of the lawns are full of the English daisies and herb Robert, which is traditional in English lawns. So I think if they brought clover, then if there's clover here, they probably brought it. There are some pea, there are some plants in the pea family here, so it could be. Or it could be a clover.
It could be a clover that was here anyway that we don't. Like Jenna said, we started high and are working our way down.
Yep. And Lou was saying it sounds like Lou has been down here and was able to do a trip through Fjordland, which we're very jealous about. Lou was saying to make sure to mention the deer industry, that he found that fascinating. We also found that the livestock deer fascinating. How many we saw. Cam and I actually asked at the sheep farm that we were at. We asked the farmer with the dogs there. She says that most of their meat for the deer does get exported. It's not the New Zealanders themselves that are eating all that venison, but it's going elsewhere. And still
on our list regarding the deer is how they're keeping those deer in those pastures, because they did not have 8-foot fences around them. Whether they're
not whitetail,
whether it's a deer that doesn't jump as much, or what it is they're doing.
They're just well fed.
It's on our list. We have a long list of questions that we're still working on. They also said, didn't they, Sonia, that the antlers are a saleable product
for trophy hunting as well, though we're not entirely clear what the setup for that trophy hunting might be. Lou's saying electric fences and well-trained deer. I think deer that are not hungry or looking to head elsewhere.
But they are well fed.
We also met some pigs at the sheep farm that had the rings in their noses to keep them from getting out, because they can also
keep them from rooting.
Well, and to get from getting out under the fences, which is why apparently they put the rings in these particular pigs as they've gotten out under the fences, and that pigs can also, same as places in the U.S., be quite the problem once they get out there.
Yes, indeed. Once they get wild.
So I think that's all the questions that I have logged. We're getting a lot of comments and commendations in the chat saying thank you, but also please go get some sleep. I think despite our best efforts, all three of us are maybe showing the hour a little bit.
The hour and the 2 weeks of just.
But it's been great to actually look at all the pictures. We so often take them and don't even look and see what each other are seeing, because we're not looking. In fact, when we were watching birds, when we'd sit and rest while we were hiking, we'd sit back to back because neither one of us could turn our head fast enough to see things go by. So that's it. And we won't call that part one. We'll call it all of New Zealand South Islands. And we're not going to worry about part two. We're just going to say next week we'll be back on track, working in the garden, working in our own North American gardens, but more than willing to take questions about these things that have come up today.
We will get the 2 videos posted probably a while after we get back home. It won't be immediately, but
Yeah, we probably won't get them posted right away by
Yeah.
Wednesday like we usually do. So let
But-
people know that they can take a look at this later if they'd like to just let it run and see the pictures.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting our work on gardenataz.org. It's a labor of love, and we think it's important that we gardeners talk to each other
Yeah.
and share the information. So have a great day, and we'll go and have a great sleep.
Yes. Take care, everybody.